It comes, right, you know what? It comes across that you're not bothered, but you really are, aren't you?
Not really. It's just a job at the end of the day.
October Red, here with Solomon Dacres. We're going to keep it real. Solomon's one of these fighters that wants his work, he wants what he does in the ring to talk for him, because we know that he's got IQ. I'll never argue about your IQ. But you know, and we know as the boxing fans, that we're in an ever-changing world, and it is really becoming the entertainment business. We talk about adaptability, being open to change and evolve. How does that make you feel as more like a traditionalist?
Yes, it's one of those things, isn't it, where nowadays, not so much your boxing does the talking, your mouth does a lot of the talking, social media and all that. I've never really been big on all that kind of stuff, you know. I'm quite more old school, you know, like, you got people like, you know, on Instagram and stuff like that, and they make themselves seem as if they're something more than they are. Whereas me, I'd rather be more than I seem, you know what I mean? You know, a bit more real like that, but that's just the world we're in today, you know what I mean? It seems like what you're perceived as is more important than what you actually are.
But then as a fighter, excuse me while I get closer, because I'm not going to spoil the view. The viewers can just have a look at you. They don't want me spoiling up the frame. But so you as a fighter, like you said, you want to show people what you're about. You're not into really the talking. How does that fare with like today's arena? How are you going to come through that? Because do you feel like you've got any choice?
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah, people maybe do put themselves a bit further ahead with what they say and what they post on social media and stuff like that, and you know, building a profile and building an image sort of thing. You know, it's always, you know, people do take to it a lot quicker when they're putting themselves out there, showing this and that, you know, doing a bit of bullshit and all that kind of stuff. But the way I look at it is, in the end of the day, if you're good enough, you're going to be at the top anyway. And then once you're at the top, everyone knows who you are.
Fair point. And a lot of people will agree with you, because the sport is evolving. We've got misfits. We've got the crossover in boxing now, like we've seen, you know, with your mate, Tyson Fury, with Ngannou. Do you know, we're seeing that progressive change. So it's like the fighters, and there's a few like you that are kind of like in the background, that don't seem to get any credit unless it's like, you know, based on obviously the performances. Everyone talks about it for a bit and then it all fizzles out. So it's like, are you going to be able to bridge the gap? Are you going to be able to play both sides of the coin to build your profile?
Potentially, I'm just me. I think it's a bit of a Birmingham thing as well, you know. But Brummies are like, you know, they're a bit more quiet than your London. Like, perfect example. Look at Galal, you know, Olympic gold medalist. He don't even post nothing on Instagram, you know. Galal, a good friend of mine from over the years. He don't even post. Olympic gold medal, boom, there's your picture. Wins a fight, there's your picture, no caption, you know what I mean? That's just how we are as Brummies, top of the tree, but, you know, we don't really talk too much shit and that. That's just how we are, innit?
Unless you provoked, because we saw, like I said, one of the most times when the public got to see who you were was when Robert Isme was, you know, winding you up as such. But it was good. Yeah, but it was good because we got a reaction out of you, and those are the things that were getting the views. So when you're looking at that and you're thinking, hold on a minute, I see myself as a good boxer, but people are preferring all of that mouthing off. What does that make you think?
Yeah, that was a good one where it did get a lot of views and that, people talking, you know, talking shit, you know. I'm very sharp, I'm very witty, you know, I got the responses, but I'm not someone that just gonna go, you know, shouting and hollering at someone. But, you know, if someone wants to bring it to me, they get shut down.
Speaking about shut down, I know that you got a lot of stick online for your last performance. I know I messaged you and I was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, talk to us about that fight. And you know me, like I said, it's a Birmingham thing. Yeah. We will be honest and we will say what we think, and not everyone can take us for that. But you going into that fight, and I'll bring you back to some stuff that I want to ask you about, but going into that fight, talk to me about it. And this is not excuses, this is what happened. So just talk us through that.
Yeah, I never make no excuses. Like it was a, for me, poor performance. No one's gonna criticize myself more than I criticize myself. You know what I mean? I knew my performance was not where I should be, but you know, I look at certain. Obviously, I wasn't. It was late notice. I had 2 weeks notice. You know, one of my biggest attributes is my conditioning, my stamina. I didn't have a chance to work on that. I was ticking over, but you know, 6 weeks I was away from my own coach. I wasn't with Max. You know, I wasn't doing my own training. I was, you know, sparring partner for Tyson Fury. You know, I did 3 weeks in Morecambe, a couple of weeks in Saudi Arabia. And I just, you know, like I was a sparring partner doing, you know, 4 rounds, yeah. Maybe the odd day I might have done 6 rounds, done a bit, couple rounds with Joe Parker and just ticking over in between because doing a lot of sparring, you know, just trying to, you know, stay fresh for the spars as the weeks go. I wasn't doing none of my hard training that I usually do, just ticking over. I didn't have a fight there at that point. So, you know, I'd spar, I might go for a little jog. I wasn't training for no 10-round title fight. I was just in the sparring partner mode. Went to Saudi, obviously, done a couple of spars, had the week of the fight week, watching, you know, just ticking over. Then, obviously, I signed with Warren, so when I got back, a space opened up on the card and they said, you know, do you want to fight in 2 weeks? And I was like, I thought I ain't really in my best shape, like, that I should be for a 10-round title fight, but, you know me, I'm just raggo. I just said, yeah, go on, man, just go for it. I don't care, let's just go for it. But the smart thing would have been to do is to say, hold it till next year, you know, put myself a good performance and get myself in the best position. But, you know, I just scraped through it, you know, just about. And here we are.
You see, when you said, like, you should have, look, in hindsight's a wonderful thing, and we can all look back and say, yeah, I probably should have done that. But you took the fight at the end of the day because you've just signed with a new promoter, no pressure. Yeah. So you're saying, oh, I know you've just signed me, but could we wait till next year?
That's the thing, you know, and even my manager said, you know, you'd look good to your new promoter because, you know, they've got a space on the card and obviously it was the Magnificent Seven title fights. So he said, you know, you kind of be doing Warren a favour as well, you know, you'd be in good steady. So I just said, all right, yeah, man, let's just go for it. But, you know, I had an undefeated, good, sharp, lively opponent who just boxed the week before and was someone that, you know, was very capable. So I needed to be my A game really, and I weren't even on my C game. But, you know, I just scraped it. You know, I thought maybe just 1 or 2 rounds just about at a point deduction as well. So I thought, yeah, shit, man. I was like, this is like, I've maybe just about got it by 1 round, and I heard the first one as a draw. I was like, this is too close for comfort. You know what I mean?
Talk to me about that. You're in that fight. The point gets deducted because, like, I'm in Wolverhampton. I'm at the boxer card. Yeah. So someone's got their laptop open watching your fight, and I'm like, well, how's he getting on then? What's happening? And they're like, it's not looking good, you know, it's just had a point deducted. So you know, a lot of fighters don't seem to see it when they're in the ring. Yeah. They seem to see it after, but you're able to judge what's going on during the fight. So when they call you both in, what's going through your head?
Well, at the end of the final bout?
You know, when it's like the final bout, they'll call you both in.
I'm thinking, this is close, man. I'm thinking, I could have won this by 1 round. Optimistically, I was like, 1 round, I've won this fight by maybe 1 round, maybe 2. Because a few rounds weren't the best. I nicked him on just the point scoring. And I thought I might have banked a few rounds like that. But he put a few floors and won a few rounds as well. So, yeah, I was just thinking, which way is it going to go, man? I've just scraped it. Man.
What's it like to be there, though, and be in those shoes? Because it's all right for us to sit at home and say, oh, you know, bloody crap or whatever. But you're the one that's in there. Like I said, the pressure, no pressure, of the new promoter sat ringside. Fair enough, you've just left another promotional company. So they might be looking and thinking, let's see what he's about then. All of that. And then you're having to think, oh my God, this, do you see what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, I can laugh about it now because the decision went my favour, but if it didn't, fucking hell, I'd be probably fucking depressed or some shit, man. Because, you know, because that's at the minute, as your prospect building up, keeps you in opportunities going forward. And you got to win and look good. And I won, but I didn't look good. But luckily I got the win. But I've just got to... If I'd trained my hardest, I'd been solid 8 weeks, you know, and I've been doing everything, training hard, plenty of notice, coming to that fight and performing like that, I would have been more concerned. But knowing that, you know, I wasn't in my best shape, I just know, you know what, get that out of the way and just prepare like I usually do for next one. Because even my managers knew, I said to them, and you know, I said, I ain't in my best sharpness now, you know, And the only opponent we had was Webster, who was sharp. And I even said to him, I said, he's quite sharp, you know, and I've had not much notice. I need to be a lot sharper. But I said, I'll just take it, man. I should win anyway.
You took the risk, you got the win. One thing that I noticed as well, I remember you and Jamie Takivi, I brought this up the other day, we're having a bit of to-in and fro-in. And it was like, you wanted him to fight a certain date. I think it was the September Birmingham card. And he was like, I can't fight that date. And I spoke to Jamie and he was like, look, he said to me exactly what you've just explained. He said, when you're in someone else's camp, you are not training for yourself. If I had took that fight with Solomon without having a camp, I wouldn't have been at my best. So he was saying the reason for his delay was he needed to have a soul camp. And I saw the to-in and fro-in and you lot, you know, saying the doc and all this. But when you look back now, how true is that?
Yeah, it's true. Obviously, he went on and you know, lost anyway. But it is kind of true. But like me, you see me, I still took the fight because I'm just like that. You know what I'm saying? But now I probably would say that now the way the fights are getting bigger and top, I'll tell you, no other heavyweight prospect would have took on 2 weeks' notice 10-round fights. These men are struggling with 6 rounds and that they're building themselves up. None of them would have taken a 10-round title fight on 2 weeks' notice. No one, I'm telling you. So, you know, a bit of testament to taking the fight, but I wasn't at my best. But, you know, straight through the 10 rounds. That's it.
We are here. We're back again. You had the press conference last week where you ran off.
I was escorted away from you.
But why was you laughing as you was being escorted away, though? You're not supposed to look happy about it.
It was just one of them, man, because you was hunting me down, innit? And you know, it wasn't out of my control.
Oh, see, now it's my fault. So if I was hunting you down, why don't you say, you know what, Red, come on and then brummy?
It wasn't up to me, man. The taxi was waiting, people was waiting on me, and you see now, they hustled and bustled me out, you know what I mean? I had no say in the matter, but here we are.
This geezer's capping. Anyway, we are here, the Magnificent Seven. This is now going to be your second fight under Queensberry Promotions, and it's nice to see your activity, to be fair. The suggestion, the implication, it's going to be David Adeleye. I've swayed more, and it's got nothing to do with Birmingham bias. I've swayed more towards you in that fight. And fair enough, I know David's got some things that he needs to clear up. But it's clear, once again, it's the boxer versus the puncher. Talk to me about that fight and why that fight is worth your time.
Well, it's, you know, he's got a bit of a profile. You know, he's just fought for the British title, so he's a British title challenger. I'm an English champion looking to go for the British title, so yeah, it can be the next step over them fighting the champion. I obviously wanted the champion myself next, but looks like I'll have to settle with the challenger, and I'll just take every fight as it comes, and I've got to put my own performance in there and keep hunting down for further titles. So it's a good fight. You know, at this time for me, and a good fight for him, where, you know, it's sort of sink or swim for him. You know what I mean? If he loses 2 on the trot, which he will, it's going to be hard for him. But I'm all about the SD show.
Understandable. I admire your confidence. You looking at, as a boxer, you're looking at the Fabio Wardley versus David Adeleye fight. You sat there and you watched that. This is tape. This is footage, because potentially you're going to fight the both of them. Talk to us about chinks in the armour that are obvious, that you don't want to use to obviously share your game plan. But talk to us about the chinks in David's armour that you think that you can, well, you know, as a fighter, you can manipulate and control.
Yeah, I mean, I was there at the fight, obviously watching it ringside. So when I was watching it live, I just thought, I've got the measure of both of these guys in the ring, to be honest. I just thought, from what I was seeing, I just saw a lot of things that I know I can exploit. And I won't say too much of what those things are, but there's a lot, to be honest, I think.
The loser of this fight, looking at it from the outside, you step out. What happens to the loser of this fight? Because fair enough, yes, it's English, but it's heavyweights. What do you think happens to the loser of this fight? What is on the line? You say it's like almost like he's got more to lose, sort of, than you, because he was the British challenger. But how do you see it?
Loser of this fight is, so I just have to ask him afterwards, because I wouldn't know what it's going to be like. And I'm not planning on thinking about what it's going to be like being loser of the fight. I'm looking to, you know, win this fight and keep going forward. So that's all I really care about.
We talk about moving forward. There was I posted it on my social media as I look at the circulars quite regular. You're a fighter, you're a heavyweight, you're local. I've got a keen eye on what you're doing in your career, and it came up that the BBFC had ordered the English Championship between yourself and Moses. Moses, an up-and-coming prospect, you could say is the favourite at Queensberry, the prospect that they're really backing. Talk to us about that fight, and if you did fight him, what is the actual benefit for you fighting him?
Yeah, it came up in the thing, but I don't think it's a fight that, you know, Warren and that would want to have for him at this moment. They're still building him up. He's young, build him up. You know what I mean? Get his record up, get his experience before he comes into fighting, you know, for titles and stuff like that. So for me, there's not really no benefit. I'm looking back if I'm fighting that instead of looking forward. So for me, it's not no benefit for me. And I think obviously with us both being with Warren, it didn't really. I don't think it would have made no sense for him to put, you know, his young prospect is building up into a tough fight, you know, which he could lose. And even going forward, I've got bigger fights to go forward to, you know, and he's got plenty of time on his hands. So it wasn't really anything that was too urgent for me to be having that fight. And I think Warren's, you know, took Moses on a different path.
The career of Solomon Dacres, it seemed to have been a bit staggered to start off with. You had injuries. You had your shoulder up early on in your career. You're with a new promotional team now. They seem to be keeping you active, even, you know, being on a home show in your second fight. Catching up on time then, because are you 30 or 31?
30, just, yes.
Sorry.
Don't get ahead of my years just yet, you know what I mean? I'm still youngish in the heavyweight scene, you know what I mean?
Take it as a compliment. I obviously thought you were a lot more mature than you are.
I am mature, you know what I mean, but not in years.
Thanks. Anyway, your career, what do you want to do with that? Because you got some catching up to do, right?
I don't know if it's catching up. I'm about where, you know, English title, British title in the next, you know, 2 fights. I'm in a good position there. You know, the heavyweight, look at the top heavyweight players, are all between 35 to maybe even 40, you know what I mean? So I think if the next 5 years I just capitalise on everything, I'm in a good position. And, you know, like I said, the next 5 years is really crunch time for me. You know, get the most out of my career in that time period. And, yeah, we should be laughing.
It's a short career, so you've got to make the most of it. Talk to us about, I'm going to push forward with one of your stablemates, Joseph Parker, who really put on a good, almost a clinic against Deontay Wilder. Joseph Parker was a world champion at 24 years of age. He lost that to Anthony Joshua in a fight that the ref was jumping in literally every 2 seconds to break him up. I watched that fight. He has gone away. He's gone to Andy Lee. He's worked hard in the background. And we're seeing like a rise of him now. He's really coming through. You've shared rounds with him. You know him as a person. Talk to me about like someone like Joseph Parker being like an influence to you, inspiration.
Well, Parker, you know, he's, you know, a really good guy, Parker. You know, I really like Joe Parker. You know, everyone in boxing loves Joe Parker, you know what I mean? He's just one of those nice guys. And like you say, he's showing now. He just don't stop, man. He just does not stop, and he will not, you know, give up. He will not turn away opportunity, and he's just showing that, you know, you believe in yourself, you keep pushing forward, and, you know, the sky's the limit. Look at him. He's gone in there, fought Deontay Wilder, you know, beat him every single round, got a game plan, and you know, done what he's done. Biggest puncher in the division, and he's just jumped straight into the next one of the next biggest punchers with Zhang. You know, there's no fear, is there, with him? You know, he's just going for it, and he knows, like you said, he's had a longer career because he's world champion quite young for a heavyweight, and he knows it's time to, you know, make some money, and, you know, he's getting the good wins and just making the most of his years that he can now.
What I like about him is over the years I've watched his style change. He was a back foot fighter. You'd have to push him back into a corner before he'd start letting his hands go. But what we're seeing is him under Andy Lee, he's now becoming that pressure fighter. We saw him push Deontay Wilder back. We saw him nullify that backhand. He is now going in against Zhang, who beat Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce beat Parker. Literally the pyramid, the triangle of boxing. This is going to be you soon, right?
Yeah, well, it's like you said. They always say, stars make fights. Someone could, like you say, Joyce beat Parker, but Zhang beat Joyce, and Parker could beat Zhang. I mean, this is just how boxing is. But credit to the people that just keep fighting and to see how things unfold. Some people just handpick the fights and don't do this and that, and then you don't never see that you might lose to someone, but you could beat someone that beat them or this and that. You just have to go for it, and that's where credit to Joe Parker is. He's just going for the fights.
Well, you can echo that because that's exactly what you did. Like you said, you had 2 weeks training. You could have said, "Oh, I'll wait until next year. Let's have a nice little Christmas, eat some more food." What you like to do, but you didn't. You went for it. So having somebody like you'd seen Joe Parker do something like that, like I said, it's that inspiration. It's that credit to him as a fighter.
Yeah, exactly that. Proper fighting man. He's a proper fighting man. Takes the challenges. Training, staying in camp, and just putting it all on the line every time.
Putting it all on the line. We have got a historic event coming up with Fury versus Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. All of the belts on the line. An interesting fight that. I know that you are Team Fury. You've been in his camp. He's looked after you. I get that. I understand that. But your impartial view on that fight, I think it's going to be really tough. But your word, Sol.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough fight either way because Usyk's extremely skillful. Very good stamina. But I think with Fury as well, very skillful, and he's got the stamina and he's got the size. I think when you match up the skills and the the engine. The size difference might play a factor, and take away that Francis Ngannou performance, a bit of a freak show. He'd be back in Fury. Most people would be back in Fury, and I think I still do back Fury for that fight. I just think he's got the size. He'll let his hands go more with Usyk. Ngannou, he got hit with one shot that bounced off his head, and it put him straight. And he was on the floor thinking, probably, fucking hell, if I get caught by anything here, I could be on the deck. So he sort of jib-jabbed and fainted and all that to get through the fight. With Usyk, I think, he'll gamble a bit more because he'll think, I ain't going to get put down with one shot here. I can, give a couple, take or ride a couple shots and go again and, try and push him forward a bit more. So it's going to be a different fight to that Ngannou one. And I think it could gel into a really good fight, actually. Don't forget, Fury can switch his sort of comfortable southpaw as well. So he can line up his southpaw stance with him and start firing backhands, left backhands as well and stuff like that.
We know that Jaya Pataya, and I've met him, and I will literally say, I've met a lot of fighters, but when I was in his company, he's the only fighter that made me actually step back as he was walking towards me. There's some kind of demon that lives in that fighter, but he's been out there sparring with Tyson Fury. X has gone wild. Twitter, for those of you that are not with us yet, literally, I think he sparred a few rounds, and now he's gone back to do his own camp. We're seeing this pattern again.
Yeah, if he's in the camp and he's not getting the rounds, he's done what's best for him at the end of the day. He's a world champion. He's got big fights. You got to do what's best for you. Sometimes it's all right to be a sparring partner. But I've said now, like, I was there 5 weeks and I've said, like, it's good to, get a bit of money. You don't know when you're fighting. I was changing promoters, get a bit of sparring money, keep you afloat. But when you've got, big fights coming up, you've got to do what's best for yourself and prepare correctly. And I've said now I wouldn't go away for that long as a sparring partner. I'm not a sparring partner, at the end of the day, I'm a champion fighter. So I do the odd week and that away. It's good to get the experience, but I wouldn't be doing no extended time periods just because I know what I need to do my own training. And he's done the same thing, it seems.
Yeah, I admire that you're actually looking at something that you've learned of experience. You've had your fingers burnt and you thought, you know what? Not on, that's not happening again. So fair play to Jai. You mentioned Ngannou as a freak show. He goes in against Anthony Joshua. Let me just pause that there. Switch off. Anthony Joshua going in against what you've called the freak show in Francis Ngannou.
Well, the whole event's a freak show, isn't it? What they're turning him out of, a UFC champion. And he's getting these, big fights straight to the top, big money fights, which is mad. But like you say, it's another one of those where it's the profile that's taking people, to the top of the, you know, top of the money tree. Really, is where it's putting them. If you look at it.
How do you see that fight going? You know, you've sparred Anthony Joshua. You've spent time with Tyson Fury. Both fighters you've sparred. To be fair, you've sparred all of the top ones. You just haven't done Wilder, have you?
Just Wilder, yeah. Obviously he's in America, but yeah. You know, you think, you know, it should be, you know, quite one-sided in Joshua's favour, but you thought it would have been one-sided in Fury's favour. So you never know if he clips someone with something. But you know, I think they'll be wary. They won't be rushing in with anything, Joshua, and they'll probably try and break him down behind a jab and move and try and use a bit more boxing skill and that. But you know, he's a big, solid man, that Ngannou, who can punch. And what it is with some of these MMA, UFC guys, they're awkward. They don't line up like you. They don't know what punch they're throwing, and you don't know what punch is coming because they don't all line up like conventional boxers. It's not like they're jabbing with you. You slip the jab, the backhands come. They just fucking come in, and next thing you know, left hooks come around the top some mad place and some next shit's happening, you know what I mean? So it's unpredictable. So I'm not making no predictions on these damn crossover fights because I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Listen, what a positive note to end it on. Listen, all the best for your next fight. I think I'll be in the gym over the next couple of weeks because I know that you're in camp. Some of your team are in camp. But the final thing I want to end up on is a lot of fighters these days, and maybe not a lot, but some fighters these days, they change their trainers like they're changing underwear. You've been with Max now from the beginning. Talk to us about why that relationship with your trainer is solid, and it's one that you hopefully continue to have throughout your professional career. I don't know, I ain't got a crystal ball.
Nah, he's getting a sack, Max's, man, if this heating don't come on in the gym. Nah, you know me, I was the same in the amateurs, you know. Stayed in my amateur club, got the top one actually, Wally.
Yeah.
Wally, you know, and then I got onto Team GB. Yeah, we got Wally ABC there. And you know, I train with Max. You know, with fighters, it's a lot of it is down to themselves. Obviously, trainers can change little things, but if you're not putting in the right work yourself, it's up to you as well to develop yourself. Study the boxing, study little things, analyze yourself. You know, you got to have a bit of self-reflection and self-awareness. And then obviously your coach works on things as well. But you know, look at some of the great champions that have just stayed with the same coaches over the years, and you know what I mean, just put the hard work in. You know, not looking for a magic wand elsewhere. Obviously, you can get experiences from other coaches, but you know, I'm not someone that's gonna, oh right, this happens, oh, just move coaches. You know what I mean? You got to work it out sometimes yourself as well, and work on things. So I'm just one of them people that just likes to make progression where we are, not chopping and changing all over the place. You know, I'm quite a loyal person like that.
Loyalty is as rare as rocking horse poo. I'm going to try and be nice on camera. But yeah, absolute pleasure to speak to you, Solomon. Thank you for your time and not running off and giving October Red some of your precious time today.
You got me caged me in, man. Show them the gate. You've gated me in, man. Turn the camera around. Look,
I haven't gated
me in here. I can't even escape. Look at that.
No, that's
You know what I mean? She put me on the sofa, put the gate on. I said, "You're not going nowhere to interview you." So
we're gonna get some more social media posts from you. Then are you gonna play the game just a little bit? Are we gonna see some 7-second reels? Are we gonna see Solomon burning his steak on the fire at home, or?
We'll see. Their Instagram. Uninstall. There you go. Fuck the social media.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.